Hi, we are Team 3, and for our Unit 5 project, we're doing a comparison of Cargill and Arla, doing a sustainability comparison, and providing an investment recommendation. My name is Manasvi Mote.
I'm Anna Clusens.
I'm Jack McEachran.
I'm Adib Alexander.
And I'm Daniel Zalik.
So we wanted to start by introducing what Sustainable Development Goal 13 is, which emphasizes the critical need for substantive responses to the imminent climate crisis. So, moving on to the next slide, the inadequacy of current climate action plans necessitates a nuanced and data-driven approach to comprehend the gravity of the situation. To confine global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, a requisite reduction of nearly 50% in emissions by 2030 is mandated. The urgency of this matter cannot be overstated, as the consequences are profound and escalating. Human activities, notably the protracted combustion of fossil fuels, unsustainable energy and land practices, and inequitable consumption and production patterns, have induced global warming of 1.1 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. This elevation has precipitated an upswing in extreme weather and climate events, manifesting as a pervasive facet of contemporary climate change. Vulnerable communities, having contributed minimally to climate change, bear disproportionate burdens, evident in a 15-fold increase in human mortality rates from climate-related events in highly vulnerable regions. The World Meteorological Organization notes a concerning acceleration in global mean sea level rise, doubling over the past decade. Even with concerted efforts to restrict warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, a continued elevation of sea levels is projected over the ensuing century. This poses significant threats to coastal communities globally, with implications for ecosystems, economies, livelihoods, and health. Notably, approximately 900 million people inhabit low elevation coastal zones, thereby heightening vulnerabilities. So, based on this, we wanted to think about two companies that we're comparing today, which are Cargill, an American global food corporation, and Arla, a Danish-Swedish multinational dairy company, to think through their sustainability practices and which have a greater impact and make sense from an investment perspective.
Yeah, thanks, Manasvi. So the first company we're going to cover today is Cargill, and we're going to discuss their goals in regards to sustainability. So first, Cargill has set a firm objective to reduce their absolute operational greenhouse gas emissions by 10% by the year 2025. This target encompasses both Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions, which includes direct emissions from their owned or controlled sources and indirect emissions from the generation of purchased energy. Additionally, Cargill is extending their sustainability efforts beyond their immediate operations with a comprehensive supply chain climate commitment. The goal is to reduce global greenhouse gas emissions from the supply chain, which is Scope 3, by 30% by the year 2030. Lastly, Cargill is focused on partnerships and farmer training. The aim is to provide 10 million farmer trainings in sustainable agricultural practices by the year 2030. By doing this, they are not only investing in individual farmers, but also fostering a more sustainable agricultural sector globally. Building on Cargill's sustainability goals, we're going to dive into the concrete actions they've taken and the impact that these efforts have had. So first, we're going to look at the Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions. Cargill has not just met their goal, but they have surpassed their greenhouse gas reduction target, achieving a 10.97% decrease from the 2017 baseline. This signifies the effectiveness of their early action strategies and a transition to cleaner energy sources. Through improved operational efficiency, Cargill is making real changes right now within direct operations. Turning to Scope 3 supply chain climate commitment, Cargill understands that change has to happen on a broader scale. Their aim to reduce emissions by 30% by 2030 in the global supply chain is ambitious, but they are on track with a reduction of 0.43 million metric tons of CO2 equivalent to date. This showcases Cargill's commitment and influence as they work hand in hand with suppliers to embed sustainable practices across logistics, packaging, and sourcing. Lastly, Cargill's farmer training initiative is where their impact on human capital shines. With over 6.4 million farmer trainings since 2017, they're empowering farmers with the knowledge to foster sustainable food systems. This initiative goes beyond agriculture. It's also about improving nutrition and enhancing livelihoods, which is evident by their reach to over 21 million people. By promoting sustainability, Cargill is moving towards a future where environmental consciousness and nutritional needs go hand in hand. I'm now going to pass it over to Anna to cover Arla's commitment to the SDG 13 initiatives.
Thanks, Adib. So Arla has three main sustainability goals, one being dairy production and reducing the greenhouse gases due to that, reducing Scope 1 direct emissions and Scope 2 direct emissions from purchased energy emissions by 63%, and reducing Scope 3 emissions from sourcing raw milk by 30% per kilogram of milk and whey, all by 2030. By prioritizing renewable energy, Arla hopes to achieve carbon net zero operations by 2050. And finally, with recyclability at the forefront of reducing solid waste, Arla hopes to achieve 100% of recyclable packaging by 2030. Within these goals, Arla has enacted sustainability promotional practices that reflect their ambitions. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions has been initiated by the Sustainability Incentive Model, which was created in 2022, with farmers being able to earn up to 2.4 euros per kilogram of milk sold. This point-based reward system serves as a key motivator for farmers to improve climate change. Incorporating the Big Five practices into the model serves as the largest monetary incentive for farmers. The Big Five includes feed and protein efficiency, animal robustness, and fertilizer and land uses. Due to these practices, compared to 2021, Scope 1 and Scope 2 greenhouse gas emissions were reduced by 4%, with an overall 25% reduction from 2015. Compared to Scope 3, which accounts for 96% of overall greenhouse gas emissions for Arla, were reduced by 9% since 2015. In order to prioritize renewable energy, Arla has created the Site Sustainability Program, which has been enacted in 6 of its largest production sites. This program focuses on energy optimization through engagement initiatives and performance management, as well as the transition to renewable sources such as solar and wind power and fossil-free fuels to power fleets and production sites. Due to these practices, the overall renewable electricity share has increased by 21% from 2021, leading to a total of 61% renewable electricity share. Incorporating recyclable packaging in Arla's European markets and other markets around the world has been a key priority for Arla as they strive to fulfill 100% recyclable packaging. Holding Arla's suppliers accountable for their sustainability through a global purchasing policy and a code of conduct has also proven to be essential for achieving this goal. These practices has led to solid waste, including recycled waste, to decrease by 6% from 2021. And now I'll hand it over to Jack to discuss more investment strategies.
Thank you, Anna. So onto investment opportunities more regarding revenue. It's safe to say that in the long term, both Cargill and Arla will generate value from their work in SDG 13. Both companies' investment in sustainable farming practices, including crop rotation, fertilizer optimization, and training courses are expected to boost overall profits in the long term, as they will be able to generate a higher crop yield over time. What sets the two companies apart in terms of their profitability are their short-term goals. Cargill aims to create a more efficient supply chain in terms of both revenue and lessen carbon emissions, and focus on giving cattle wet feed, improving animal health, as well as removing the cost of drying the feed. Cargill expects their expenses to go down by around 1% due to these short-term changes. At the same time, Arla is investing into full recyclability and is expected to lower their operating expenses by 0.4%. Along with this, Arla's focus on the dairy supply chain, and waste reduction, grazing improvements, food production is expected to lower operating costs by another 1%. All in all, while both companies' investment in SDG 13 should level out in the long term, in the short term, stakeholders should look to Arla to generate higher returns. Now passing it off to Daniel to go into more of the sustainability aspect.
Thank you, Jack. Okay, so finally, today I have the privilege of presenting our recommendation on which company, Cargill or Arla, aligns best with SDG 13 climate action and demonstrates superior sustainability promotion practices. Our recommendation is based on a thorough analysis of both companies' sustainability efforts. We have considered key factors such as greenhouse gas emission reductions, regenerative agriculture, renewable energy utilization, and innovative approaches to sustainability. Now moving into a comparative analysis of the two, Cargill has made commendable strides in environmental sustainability. They've surpassed their 2025 target by reducing operational greenhouse gas emissions by 10.97% from a 2017 baseline, highlighting their effectiveness in early implementation of reduction strategies. Furthermore, Cargill's ambitious goal to reduce global supply chain GHG emissions by 30% by the year 2023, with a current reduction of 0.45 million metric tons of CO2 equivalent, demonstrates their influence and dedication to improving environmental practices beyond their immediate operations. Their promotion of regenerative agriculture and the delivery of over 6.4 million farmer trainings underscore their commitment to sustainable agricultural practices and food systems. On the other hand, Arla's approach to sustainability is equally impressive. They have set an ambitious goal to reduce Scope 1 and 2 emissions by 63% and Scope 3 emissions by 30% per kilogram of milk and whey by 2030. Notably, in 2022, Arla achieved further reductions in Scope 1 and 2 and lowered Scope 3 emissions by 2 percentage points, making a 9% reduction since 2015. Their target of using 100% green electricity in Europe by 2025, particularly in Denmark, shows a strong commitment to renewable energy, which is a crucial aspect of modern sustainability practices. Moreover, Arla's sustainability incentive model, rewarding farmers for sustainable actions, is a groundbreaking approach that directly impacts their Scope 3 goals. This point-based reward system serves as a key motivator for farmers to adopt sustainable practices, influencing the broader climate change agenda. Now, moving on to our final recommendation. Considering the above factors, our recommendation leans towards Arla. While Cargill shows significant results and a broad approach to emission reduction and sustainability agriculture, Arla's innovative and strategic approaches, especially in incentivizing sustainable practices among farmers and setting ambitious renewable energy targets, positions them at the forefront of sustainability. Arla's comprehensive and proactive approach in integrating sustainability into every aspect of their operations, from farm all the way to final product, makes them a more compelling choice for investors focused on environmental sustainability and climate action. Now, as our closing statement, Arla's combination of ambitious environmental targets, innovative sustainability incentive models, and commitment to renewable energy aligns them closely with the goals of SDG 13. Their forward-thinking strategies and practical implementations of sustainability measures presents a strong case for investors who are seeking to support companies leading the way in climate action. Thank you for considering our recommendation.